Hey everybody, it is GleeCon here with another episode of Lore of Warcraft as we continue our journey through the third chapter of Chronicles and build up to the opening of the Dark Portal eventually. We are now 15,000 to 10,000 years before the Dark Portal, so we're about 2,000-ish years later than what we were before, so the Zandalari attacked Pandaria. They were kind of beaten back, Cloud Serpents entered the picture, and we've had 2,000 years of development. And in this time, and actually 3,000 years before that, so this is a 5,000 year reign of time we're going to get in one blurb, which is called The Well of Eternity and the Rise of the Night Elves. So we finally have the Night Elves entering the picture, one of the final races. Humans have not been discussed at all. They're still out there, but we know that they're kind of tangentially related to the Valyar. Dwarves haven't really been talked about, but we know that they're going to come out of the earth, and kind of gnomes and mechagnomes have been talked about. So that leaves us with the Night Elves, which we're going to talk about right now. And the Draenei have been talked about, where they came from Varen and all of those people in the other planet. And the Worgen have not been talked about at all either. From the flip side, Orcs haven't been talked about at all. Trolls have, so they're a big time thing. They've been around. The Tauren, we did find out where they came from. And the Forsaken, the Undead, we know where those came from in separate lore, but they haven't been talked about in this story yet. And the Blood Elves, they're going to be shooting off of this. So not really. And that leaves us with the Goblins. So no Goblins either yet. All right, so Horde a lot less developed, but we do have a little bit. Before their war with Yakir, the Troll tribes claimed large swaths of Kalimdor. Many of these groups, such as the Gurubashi and the Amani, clashed with each other over hunting grounds and territory, yet one tribe was unconcerned with these battles for land and power. Known as Dark Trolls, they lived in a network of deep caverns that stretched beneath Mount Hyjal. They abhorred daylight, only emerging from their underground burrows at night. The Dark Trolls' nocturnal habits changed them over time, turning their blue-hued skin into shades of gray. I knew there was a connection between elves and trolls. I'm guessing this is where the Night Elves come from. The Dark Trolls cherished their independence from greater troll society, and they largely ignored the activities of other tribes. Unlike their Gurubashi and Amani cousins, they longed for a peaceful connection to the natural world. Dark Troll mystics often sought ways to commune with the land and live in harmony with it. Many of these trolls gradually migrated toward the center of Kalimdor. They explored the labyrinthine groves at the heart of the continent, crossing paths with the elusive fairy dragons, chimeras, and dryads. In time, the Dark Trolls also discovered an enormous lake of scintillating energies, a lake they would later know as the Well of Eternity. Mesmerized by their discovery, the Dark Trolls settled along the Well of Eternity's shores. Over generations, the energies radiating from the lake suffused the trolls' flesh and bones, elevating their forms to match their graceful spirits. They transformed into highly intelligent and virtually immortal beings. These former trolls gradually abandoned their ancient heritage and traditions. The tribe's mystics began worshipping the moon goddess Elune, who they believed was bound to the Well of Eternity itself. They claimed that the deity slumbered within the fount's depths during daylight hours. The former trolls also discovered the name Kalimdor and other Titan-forged words from communing with Elune and investigating strange artifacts scattered around the well's periphery. Influenced by this newfound language, they called themselves the Kaldarai, children of the stars, or Night Elves. The trees, flowers, and woodland creatures silently watched the Night Elves flourish, whispering news of them to the wild gods of Hyjal. Among them, the demigod Cenarius took a keen interest in these newcomers at the Well of Eternity shores. The Night Elves would claim he was the son of the great white stag Malorn and Elune herself. It would make sense considering his weird kind of centaurish form. Cenarius adored the Night Elves and believed they had the potential to become great caretakers of nature. He befriended the fledgling race and taught them about the natural world. It was Cenarius' hope that the Night Elves would strive to live in harmony with the wilds. And for many centuries, the Night Elves did. They built a graceful society around the Well of Eternity. The capital of their small nation was called Elundris, or Eye of Elune, and it was founded on the shores of the Fount of Power. The Night Elves also honed their ties with the surrounding woodlands and their myriad inhabitants. Cenarius guided the Night Elves when necessary, pleased by the wisdom and benevolence that thrummed in their hearts. But in time, many of the Night Elves yearned for a different life. These individuals became obsessed with unlocking the Well of Eternity's secrets. They rigorously studied the Fount's arcane energies, becoming learned sorcerers. They harnessed the powers of the arcane lake and constructed wondrous temples and roadways around it. Magic became an inseparable part of life as the Night Elves reveled in the power at their fingertips. Pushing the boundaries of their intellect became the driving force of their culture. It was during this era of unprecedented growth that the Night Elves' most prolific leader came to power. Her name was Queen Azshara. Through her unbridled ambition, she would elevate her people to extraordinary new heights and sow the seeds of their destruction. So the Elves are a version. They have kind of an evolution of the Trolls. Cool. We also know that we have the spin-off races from them. The Blood Elves, the High Elves. Where do they come from? We haven't quite talked about that yet. High Elves are from earlier Warcraft lore. Sounds like we're also talking about with Azshara, the Nightborn. They come out of that. Yadics that work for Queen Azshara in Suramar region. So those other 3 spin-offs are going to be coming, and it sounds like they all revolve around stuff with arcane magic, even though the Night Elves can be arcane as well. There's also Void Elves. Okay, so we have 4 spin-off races we should look for from the Elves. But it all began with them, which themselves are a spin-off of Trolls. I think probably in the next episode I'll show you. I think there's a map of the Dark Elves Empire. Yeah, that will come in. The Night Elf Empire is what it's called. The Dark Troll Empire, I meant to say. The Night Elf Empire is coming up in a map soon. The very next episode. And I think somewhere there's a Dark Troll thing too. I thought I saw somewhere, but maybe I'm mixing it up. All right, so we also have the Sisterhood of Elune. The city of Suramar became the center of Night Elf worship and home to the Sisterhood of Elune. This order, composed of female Night Elves, dedicated itself to venerating the Moon Goddess. The Sisterhood's priestesses had a hand in nearly all aspects of early Night Elf civilization, from acting as spiritual leaders to helping defend their burgeoning territories from outside threats. And this is where we get the hunters and the warriors, probably the rogues even, all the scouts, the people that we know of, the eventual Sylvanas, and before she turned bad, and the people that also now currently fight her. So they're all from the Sisterhood of Elune, and they're central figures in WoW, and central figures in the Night Elf history. So cool. We've now shifted focus. We've broken off. We're no longer talking just about Pandaria. And they're saying what was going on at the same time was the development of the Night Elves and the Elune and Cenarius and all that stuff. And we also know it's going to lead up to some bad things, probably what causes the sundering. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next episode. It has been a pleasure as always. Thank you for listening to me on Lore of Warcraft.